Well, another year, huh? I know, Andrew, you're saying the guy's looking younger than older.
Quit telling everybody I'm 40, you're not 40 yet.
Now, I didn't say what class you're in, so you're giving yourself away. I just said the first set of seniors.
Sure.
You might have just been smarter than your age. Anyway. All in camp, everybody's ready to go. Probably positive, just looking at our special teams, probably our biggest concern will probably be young punter and kicker. Backup offensive line, we've got to grow up. Both Bryson Henderson and Mr. Elliott, both of those guys that we thought would be our number 2 tackles, will not be able to play this year, but so it'll come down to redshirt freshmen, but they've been here a while, so we'll see how that all turns out. Aside of that, though, just our numbers, probably, and we talked about depth, probably our numbers and our depth, our length, our size is probably better than the special teams depth chart that has been in a while. And so that's probably a positive, and when you start the first day of camp, numbers are important. The amount of guys that can play. Because if a guy can start on a punt team, he takes 6 to 8 reps over a 12-game schedule. It's a lot of reps that you're taking away from somebody playing, and you can do that across the board. Getting a Sammy Douglas back, Kenny Iloka back, James McFarland back, all 3 of those guys, and probably they look as good as they did. Sidney Calvin back, another special teams guy. Sammy Douglas, one of the biggest losses we had was just how he covered special teams. And so having those guys back older, as you can see, what our motto is, stand our ground. Felt like we climbed. We haven't got to where we want to get to yet. But we've got to be able to hold our ground underneath us. Let's turn the page. We only have 8 seniors, so the key is you have 26 and 26 in our junior and sophomore classes. So then redshirt freshmen. So you have a lot of your team is still by age relatively young, and so we've got growing up to do. How they handle the grind of 2-a-days, the way we do 2-a-days, is important. A lot of new stuff back, and I welcome all of you to get a chance to, instead of walking out the back or anything, is to walk down the hallway and go through our new recruiting room. It's not quite completely done, but we'll actually do a whole makeover probably by the time we get to the next football season. Our next one will be changing over the AD's office, formal, because they moved over to basketball. Will become a game room. Be opposite, have glass door to be behind it. We've got a recruiting room. We've grown as a staff, so we've changed where we're going to put our staff room, and we need to change our offices a little bit. If you really look like it, you guys ever watched the kid movie Terabithia? When they walk across the bridge, or kind of need to change the color. You walk out the one door and go, God, this is great, but this doesn't look like what kids would like. So. Kind of like me getting on Twitter at 12 o'clock at night. For all you guys that follow me and if your feed just went crazy, you deserve it. Anyway, what you got?
Gary, with all the injuries that you had last year and the results that you had, even with all those injuries, does that make you more excited?
Well, I said it immediately. I said immediately that I'm excited about. There's a lot of guys that want to play football, and you miss people like Derek Kindred and Davion Pearson because they were warriors. I mean, they were true frogs. Josh Dodson. A lot of the guys. We say we have a lot of young guys coming back. New guys coming back on offense, but Austin Slotman. Joey Hunt didn't. He didn't play in the Oklahoma game, the Baylor game, and the Oregon game. 3 of our the best opponents we played last year and played just fine. And so you have Joseph Newboom and all those guys, but the young wide receivers, some of the guys we had in the spring, it excites me. I think we have an opportunity with Ross Blacklock, Isaiah Chambers, and Brandon Bowen to make ourselves bigger up front, definitely behind the older guys we have. Ross is 6'4", 335. I'd rather be about 320. But he didn't do it himself, and we'll help him with it in 2-a-days. But, you know, the size of playing a guy, team like in Arkansas, to get a Kenny Iloka back, you know, Julius Lewis won't be able to play this year because of an off-season injury, but he'll redshirt. But, you know, we redshirt both Tony James, we moved over. Gladney's a 6-foot corner, and really been really surprised by Vernon Scott, the true freshman, came in, 6 foot, 205 pounds. You know, in our camp, he ran a 4.38 last year when we had our camps. And then having Randy Tejada back, and you can really tell because he didn't get a chance to redshirt, his demeanor, everything. You know, he's not a tall corner, but he's smarter. You can tell he's more mature, he's stronger. He understands what's going on. You know, sometimes when you sit out, you learn those kind of things, and so it helps you in some ways. And then basically James McFarland looks better than I've ever seen him since he's been here. You know, but he's got to keep healthy, and so do along with Caraway. So most of the seniors we have are all defensive guys. So you have the two ends, Curry the tackle, and then you have Kenny Iloka, you've got and Denzel Johnson. You know, so we have, you know, we've got to grow guys up. Also, they're going to play behind them, and offensively, you know, every day is a new day. It'll be interesting. You know, we were terrible 2 years ago when we ended spring with this offense, and they changed in the summertime. And then, you know, that first year, how well they played with Trayvon. And so I think you'll also see when Kenny Hill walks in here, how he's changed his body. If you saw him when he walked out of A&M to what he looks like right now, I mean, just really worked hard, him and Foster. So, you know, we'll all, you know, probably the other worry is finding the number 2 tailback. Sean Nixon won't play this year because we had to go back in to make sure, you know, so he'll have the medical red shirt. So that's one of the reasons why we brought in the 1-for-1 Michigan running back to give us more depth there. We're going to have to see if Darius Anderson can give us, along with Shawo and Trey Johnson. But Kyle Hicks has had as good a spring as any tailback that we've, as far as offseason, as far as working what he looks like. And so some of you that saw him at Media Day, so you're ready to go.
I'm sure you felt a lot of consternation last year, Coach, with all those injuries when they happened, but can you talk about the contrast now that you feel with the experience that some of those younger players got?
Well, you know, the story that you're excited because they all come back. Is that a good story? Is it a bad story? If we learn from it and win about it, I think we have a chance to be fast. You know, having a guy like Traven Howard that can move between strong and linebacker, having a guy like Nick Orr that can move between corner and one of our safeties, and then a guy like, you know, all our 5 top linebackers will run sub 4.6 because they weren't really linebackers when they came out. You know, Montrell was a safety, Traven was a safety, Ty was a quarterback, and so Sammy Douglas was more of a hybrid when he came out of Arlington. So you have Paul was a running back, so. And Tyree Horton's really the only guy that, you know, I don't know about the new junior college guy, All-American that came in at linebacker, along with Alex Dunham. So it went from, we had 2 new starters, and one was a freshman, and one had never really played much, to 5 or 6 guys, you know, and 4 of them played quite a bit of football. So.
Gary, you've only had really good things to say about Kenny since he got here. Why do you think he's flourished here this time?
I don't know if he's flourished, but I think he's done, number one, I think he got back on the same track as he was when he came out of, you know, he's got a great family, comes out of a great high school program that's won state championships. You know, and I think for him, you know, just, we all get into situations, we all make mistakes, and he's a good enough kid. He's been an A and B student. I think maybe he's had 1 seat since he's been here at TCU. So just getting him back in the element of how we do things. That was one of the reasons why, to be honest with you, I didn't bring him in the first spring. I told him he just needed to get out of the limelight. He needed to get back and just get back to being Kenny Hill, kid I knew when I recruited out of high school, and get to come over, watch spring ball, come over, get the chance to meet us. And then he came here in the summertime, and then we kind of went from there. Because if he would have came right here, he just never would have. It would have always been somebody asking about him, and it didn't need to be about him, it needed to be about what he, we need to get away from it, take a deep breath, and now it's, he and Foster both get a chance to, and really, we need both of them. You've watched everybody in the league, you can't just have one quarterback and win a championship around this place. Nobody was able to do that last year, I don't think.
You've been around him for a year now. What have you seen about his competitiveness?
Well, I don't know, I don't judge quarterbacks till Saturday, so. I mean, I go back, I keep going back to Jeff Ballard. Jeff Ballard got fired every Tuesday. And he was 19-2 as a starter. And we wouldn't even known about Jeff Ballard if Ty Gunn would have got hurt, because he got fired every Tuesday.
Coach, are there any indicators throughout the week or throughout spring that say that this guy might be good on Saturday?
Well, yeah, good, but I mean, even Trayvon Boykin, he was neck and neck with, because for a quarterback, it's really hard, because, after a certain amount of practices, both sides know the checks, both sides know the coverages, both sides know what's gonna happen, everybody, they got a red shirt on, they're not gonna get hit, you go to the point, and so, I think one of the things, and I think, just listen to everybody else, I think in this case, both quarterbacks, I think the longer they're here, the more leadership seems to be showing. We judge a quarterback by how he makes like I said this once, I've said it 100 times, does he make everybody else better when he steps on the field? Does the offense move better? Doesn't have to be the best athlete. It has to be the guy that makes everybody else go. And so whoever makes everybody else go will be the guy that'll start it all off. And hopefully we'll have 2 of them before it's said and done. It would be great if we had 3.
Gary, do you want to name starter like a week before the first game?
Well, we'll probably, to be about a week and a half. Usually we break camp and start going into game plan about the Wednesday before game week. And so it'll be somewhere around Tuesday or Wednesday. If it's before that, because it becomes very obvious who it is, then it'll be before then. If not, then what it'll be for us, it'll be about, but I think you have to name a guy about 9 days, 9 to 10 days out. You can't go any sooner than that, any later than that, excuse me.
You talked in the spring about Jason Phillips stepping in with the linebackers, and you've had this happen before, but does it re-energize you to have one of your former players?
Well, yeah, him and Zarnell, you guys don't know, we've never had 2 D-line coaches. You had a guy that played this system, Jason Phillips, that's a GA here, and I've never, you do it at 1AA and you do it in Division II where everybody's a full-time position coach, but they're just part-time pay. But he's probably been the easiest transition guy, so, when he's not a GA someday, then probably one of those, but it's the first time we've ever had, and it's good for us because it's where a lot of our youth is. It allows us to have a D-tackle coach with Zarnell Fitch, and then Dan Sharp coaching our defensive ends, and then Jason's handling our linebackers. It's hard for him because he's got double duty. There's still certain things graduate assistants have to do within the system on the everyday operations, but he's worked hard, he's dove in, and it's made us better. It's probably the easiest transition of a new linebacker coach, because our philosophy of how to do defense, how we play linebackers is a lot different than what most people are. And so a guy that's already played it, gone on the NFL, the kids respect him. It was one of those. So, you gained an extra coach. We've always felt like we've had 3 secondary coaches: the corner coach, the safety coach, and me. Then you had a linebacker coach, D-line. Now to have 3 up front helps us. We'll see how it all works through it. But it's fun having Jeremy Monkins. It's fun having Zarnell. If you look at it, see Chad and Jared both were GAs for us, full-time guys. I think we have 12 to 14 we've had through the system. But now to have, you have Quincy Butler now that's at Texas Wesleyan. You've got Drew Coleman. They both graduated. He's at Blaine Junior College. We've had some guys just recently. So you have guys out coaching, doing it. But have those 3 guys that played it because you don't have to teach them our philosophy. Jeremy, I think where I saw where he had in his career 212 tackles, so you got him back as one of our quality control guys on defense. Zarnell was our high school liaison, now coaches our D-line, great recruiter, and then you also have Jason, which he was a son of a coach, hard-nosed, so he gets it. He doesn't have other agendas. He's here in fact, he's here more than I am, which is a good thing.
Gary, back on things for a second. When you went into the to stay at TCC for a semester. Have you ever done that with a transfer or been in a program that is?
Not for those reasons. But you know, it was one of those, you know, I did it more for the betterment for him than it was for me. I mean, obviously you'd like to get him in, but it's one of those things, you didn't need to have kids here asking questions. You just need to be able to take a step back. I mean, it's like, and I'm not saying it's like that, but it's like, I just had Casey Paha come through our office. Getting married, graduated, full-time job, giving the NFL one more shot. You know, when it's all said and done, you know, that decision was the hardest one of the three you could. You either could have suspended him for a couple games and came back, you were 4-0 at the time, people forget that. We're ranked like 12th in the nation when that went down. So suspend him for a couple games, probably not change his life, or kick him off, which is another easy one. And you know, then nobody wins and he doesn't change and you don't help him with his life. And so, you know, it's, again, you're gonna, you know, I've been here for the long haul, and usually when you can make decisions for the long haul, for the right reasons, it's gonna have a chance to turn out a lot better than it does if you try to get a quick fix. And so, this university wants us to be like that, and so that's what we do.
You talked about naming your quarter, you have to name your quarterback a week and a half before. Why can't you wait later?
Well, it's really for everybody else. They have to get where they're used to that guy. They gotta know they're gonna see that guy in the huddle, not sharing one reps. You know, it's not fair to anybody, not just the quarterback, but it's not fair for anybody else to not have who you know you're gonna step in the huddle with the first ball game. And whether you think so or not, South Dakota beat KU last year, and South Dakota State did, and they're good enough, they'll come in, they'll play hard, they won't make mistakes, and you better get ready to do what you need to do. It's not where you're playing a 1AA team the first game of the year. We prepared as hard for them in the summertime as I have for Arkansas and Iowa State, Oklahoma, and SMU. So,
Coach, you said something about Kenny getting out of the limelight and going back to being Kenny Hill. I know you talked a little bit about this at media days, but can you go into that again? Kind of what do you mean by that?
well, he's not in school somewhere, you're not asking questions about it, and nobody did. I mean, he wasn't at TCU, he wasn't at A&M, so he was home coaching a quarterback camp, going back to getting back into the family. Started dating a girl kind of at the end of A&M, I think still one girlfriend. I mean, just, you know, he's kind of become below the water, kind of below the surface. And so, you know, I don't, you know, if it's not crossing my desk, I try not to be in their lives if everything's going good into them, because then the ones I try to get in, have the little birds watch is the ones that need watching until they grow up. As I tell them, you want to be treated like a 20-year-old, you want to be treated like a 3-year-old, which one are you going to act like? So, and really since he come back here, he's been acting like he's his age. So and here's the thing about him, he's seen, you know, you had a dad that was major leader, so he's seen all the limelight, he's seen all the things. His parents have been awesome. Obviously, everybody from South Lake Care was awesome, as far as anything we've been dealing with, Coach Wasson. So, but you know, I think he can probably, be honest with you, he can probably answer those questions better than I can. That's why there's all of you here, because I knew there'd be about 5 of them I didn't have quarterbacks here, so. I mean, Hawkins here, he was gonna go on vacation, and he's mad at me because he's gonna get one less day of vacation because I let you guys talk to the quarterbacks, so. Here we go.
Gary, I'm guessing you get a lot more questions about Kenny than about Foster. What have you liked about Foster's progression?
Well, the biggest thing about Foster's just got he's got to roll his sleeves up and not worry about it. You know, you have tales of 2 quarterbacks. You know, the guy that came in the KU game, and the guy that played the Oklahoma game. You know, I have a saying all the time: greatness is somewhere where hard work and dreams meet. Okay, well, I think you can sit there as a young player and you can dream what it'd be like to throw for 7 touchdowns against Oklahoma, and then you wake up out of that dream and you're in Norman and you're playing Oklahoma. And so, you know how fast the game moves and all the things that happens. You have to just run the offense. I think if there's anything he's learned out of it, he has to run the offense. And you know, all of us get judged in our lives of how, it's not in the good time, but how we handle adversity. I mean, how we stayed here 19 years and not handling all the good times, it's how we've handled adversity. And so in his case, as a quarterback for those, because he's 6'6", he has all the throws. He's a lot more athletic than what people give him credit for him. But to be a leader and be that position, people ask a lot more of you than, and so you gotta roll your sleeves up, you gotta get ready to get hit in the mouth and get back up, come back swinging. That's what you do. And so, you know, I think once he learns that as a young player, I think he'll be just fine. Hopefully sooner than later.
Gary, how's Cavante Turpin doing? How has he changed from this time of year?
What do you mean?
Physically, getting better?
I wish he was bigger, but Turp's gonna be Turp. You know, you'd like him to be a lot bigger than what he is. And the key is always gonna be with him and staying healthy. So, you get a lot more plays if you can touch it without having to be hammered all the time.
Do you think that limits how many touches you want to give him?
No, it just depends on how you're getting the touches. If you're talking about running back, fly sweeps, yes. Talking about throwing it to him, no. You know, you got Deontay Gray back. You got Jefferson Stewart, you got Tice Lenina back. All those guys, you know, 2 of those 3 were not part of our football team at the end of the season last year. All of them look awesome as far as size, bigger, stronger, smarter. And so you had Isaiah Graham that came at him and Taj Williams that came in the spring. Probably Isaiah Graham was probably the surprise of the spring. You know, he's a 210 pounds, 6'1", 6'2" wide receiver that you put in addition to what you had. So, you know, when you only have 8 seniors, you were young, so you just have a lot of people. You know, you lost you lost three offensive linemen, 4, and then you lost your tailback and you lost your quarterback and a couple wide receivers. But basically, except for Aaron Green, none of those guys played in the bowl game. And so they're young, so again, you go, the good part is they're all back, the bad part they're all back. We're gonna find out what reality is. Go from there, but the way they worked this summer, I'd be really surprised if they're not better. A lot of them have changed their bodies, including Kenny that I talked about, Jalen Austin, Manuel Porter, and you're talking about 6'2", 6'4". Taj came out of junior college. He was very thin, not very strong. He's gained 20 pounds and running just as well. So, you know, we'll have our hands full on defense. We just added a 10 300-meter Deontay Gray is a totally different animal to what you're doing. So, John Diars, which will be also a big special teams guy for us, transferred from LSU, wide receiver, and so they caught a touchdown and a couple touchdowns in the bowl game. So it's, you know, you have a group now. Can they grow up? Can they have? The best part about it is you know, we're going to play 10 games in the state of Texas, where you're going to have a lot of fan support. 7 here, 1 over at SMU, and then Baylor in Texas. Different than every other year, which last year, which is really truly amazing if you go back and look at it, to have gone 11-2, and you had to go to Ames, you had to go to Manhattan, you had to go to Stillwater, Norman, and Lubbock. And we had to go to Minnesota on a Thursday night. So you had for sure 5 of those games are just hard to play. It doesn't matter who you are when you go to those places. They're hard places to play for various reasons. And to come out 11-2, really is pretty, you had to have a dramatic catch, you had to have some things that come back from 34-17, and against Oregon, you gotta come back from 31-0. Oklahoma, we're down 23-3, 23-7. So, you know, you just gotta find ways to win, which is what we've tried to do here.
Gary, with all the talk around the conference and what might happen, is it easy for you to stay in the silo of coaching and recruiting as opposed to just hearing everything else that's happening or might happen?
Yeah, because you don't know what's realistic. There's a lot of push because you like, you know, those that are outside of Power 5, you know, they'd like to be part of the money, so you've got a lot of political push in the news to add people as far as numbers, do all of it. You You know, they had somewhere where all the coaches in the Big 12 voted that it'd be fine, you know, to add people, and who those people would be. It's not how they asked the question. They asked the question, if we did, okay, who would that be? And so for me, I won't get into that, but for them to tell me that I'd have to wait a little bit longer, for them to tell me that I have to add 2 teams because that'll make us a better conference. Only if we add, it's like I told them, I thought TCU was a great addition. Why was it a great addition? Because we already had enough vision. We were building a new stadium. We were changing our facilities already. Not when we came into the conference and then we'll go do that. You know, we were changing everything we were doing academically, enrollments up, everything of that, all that stuff was happening. Why wouldn't we are a good choice? So the choices we need to take, it's not the conference's job to make that university better, it's the university's job to make the conference better. Whether it's in football, academics, whatever it is, if we're gonna say that the Big 12 will be better off if we had teams. And so, who those are, I mean, I don't literally have, like I told them, I mean, we've been in 4 true conferences, and we were in a magical conference, you know, it was a good conference, but we never played in it. So, in every one of those places, we've had it where it's been divisions, I've been it where it's been round robin, I think it's been 2 and 2. And the hardest one is when you gotta play everybody every year. That's the toughest one. Okay, so, you know, my job is just to win football games. I'm gonna leave it to all the rest of them to worry about all the rest of it, and I'll play whoever they decide they want me to play, and go from there. But I would prefer not to have to get home at 6 o'clock in the morning like I used to do in the WAC in the Mountain West. You know, when you played a night game and, you know, you got done at 12 o'clock at night, it's 2 o'clock our time, and then you get home at 6, and then we're asking our kids to practice in the afternoon. That was difficult. And that's the only thing that you gotta worry about. It's a disadvantage for any team that has to go distance compared to the rest of the league, like we had to travel across the Rockies all the time. Because we'd take 200 and BYU would have 75,000. You know, here at least we get an even, wherever we play a ball game, we get a decent crowd, you know, to help our kids know they're not gonna be on their own. Except when you go to West Virginia, it's hard, which West Virginia kind of sits in the same situation that we did when we were in the Mountain West, where, you know, people have a hard time coming to your place, but it's hard for you because of the distance to go to their places. So. But, you know, West Virginia's a tough place to play.
Do you have a sense of what you're gonna get from Derek Green yet?
No, because he hasn't been able to really work out with our group, so. He's got to get ready for the Texas heat.
Gary, not all of the guys who missed last year just came in and walked back in as starters. What do you think that says for you?
There's not anybody that's walking back in as a starter, let alone anybody that's new or got hurt. So. Right now, it's open door.
You
What
said,
does that say about the depth of your defense, though? You got-
Well, I don't know if there is, but it's only at linebacker, I'd probably tell you. You guys want me to come out and tell you that I'm gonna anoint them. In this league, you just need to hold on to your pants. We'll find out at the end of the year if they're worth a darn.
You said Traven and Nick can move around in some places. Is Traven, is he headed to safety right now, or do you think
No,
he's gonna stay?
I don't know. You know, it just depends. We'll see how the injuries go. I mean, he plays our nickel safety. I mean, one of the biggest advantages we have during the last half of the season while we got better was we didn't have to substitute anybody, and he played the nickel safety. And we were still in what people consider our field defense. So, you know, but the difference is what we have to do a great job of is he played safety all the way through 2 days. Nick played corner, and then they moved inside, and that's an easier progression than trying to go from linebacker or safety and go out to corner and go out to safety from a linebacker position. So we have to do a good job without wearing their legs out of Traven getting as much work at safety, because that's where really we gained our biggest advantage against a lot of the teams. There's a lot of 4 wide out teams, so you need an extra guy that can go do all that. And so, you know, obviously it would help us a lot in summer games like an Arkansas game or something where you have a 6'2", 200+ pound Kenny Iloka ball game. And, you know, probably in the secondary, the position that has to do is who's going to place their Kindred. And it may be Nick Orr. Right now, it's Nico Smalls and Markel Simmons. But, we're gonna get the best 5 on the field that we possibly can, that work together, because really, the other secret was when Nick moved to weak safety, and you handle all the 4, you didn't worry about, because he's a corner-type guy, that he could handle the inside receiver of people like Oklahoma and Baylor and Oregon, and not have to worry about them running by your weak safety into the boundary, because he can vertically go with them. So anytime that you can play base defense without having to make adjustments, just because of their athletic ability, makes it a lot easier on the guy calling the defense. Because Lord knows they're not gonna just line up, and in this league, they don't throw any verticals. Yes?
No, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt there, but you said, you don't want to anoint anyone. Just out of curiosity, what's the fear in anointing someone before everything gets over?
That's probably a choice of a bad word. But for us, they always know you earn your stripes at our place. I mean, if you want to be a great, we have a great tradition on defense. A lot of guys have played through the years, a lot of NFL guys. In fact, I got a picture from the 2005 out of the senior class, I think 4 of them. You had 4 NFL guys out of 15. And so here, when we're not playing good defense, I get a lot of phone calls, and all of a sudden players start showing up to practice. So everybody has their ear to the ground about who the next guy is that's going to be wearing my jersey, wearing purple and black, and how do they play, why they wear it, and how do they act. So, it's the next group of guys coming up, young guys, albeit, I think the biggest thing for us, we've been 5 times been #1 defense total yards in the nation, but it's, in this league, you can tell you keep getting better and better players. You had to change your goals. Our goals changed when we came into it, where we said you still got to stop the run. How well do you play on 3rd down defense? How fast do you do 3 and outs? 2 years ago, we were #1 in the nation. This last year, we were 3rd. I think 2 years ago in 2014 was like 7.8 out of 13 times that people took the ball, they had to punt. We took the ball away from them. This year we were closer to 5 or 6 out of 10, out of 13, whatever. Because usually I think they average, like most offense average somewhere around 12 to 14 drives a ball game. And so this league probably a little bit different. But how do you get them off the field? How do you play in the red zone? 2 years ago we made them kick 23 field goals. We didn't play as well. We were still statistically the best defense in the Big 12. We only gave up 17 touchdown passes, but our standards, because we were young and small up front and the linebackers, moved safeties, we didn't play red zone and goal line the way we had played it in the past. And so that's something but I think we got a chance to be bigger with more experience. I think we have an opportunity to be better at that. And so, it's find a way to score 1 more point, because people are going to move the football, and how do you play in the red zone? How do you keep them out of the end zone? How do you make them kick field goals? 2 years ago, we only allowed 8 touchdowns. This last year, we allowed, I think, 21 or 22. So you can't do that unless your offense is just scoring 1 more point. And the way I approach this season is I don't know how they're going to be. So we've got to be better. And I felt like last year I knew that they were going to have to cover us while we grew up on defense, and it's going to be a little bit opposite. I think possibly we're going to have to get after them until we grow up and they find us something. Hopefully they find themselves by the first ball game. If not, then how do you find every 7 days a way to score 1 more point? That's for 12 weeks, and that's what we worked at. The other thing we have this year is we got 2 off weeks. We have one before West Virginia, and we have one before Oklahoma State. But there's other people. KU's got an off week. There's a couple teams that have off weeks before they get to us. So those are the only things. If I ever changed the scheduling, nobody would ever have an off week. You get 2 weeks. It's not so much the extra time to prepare, it's the rest. You get your legs back, you get healthy, you get people back. I mean, it's a lot different.
Two more
You
questions.
mentioned coming on at 6 a.m. Do you hope the travel strain is it considered in this stuff? With
Well, it's a lot less already in this league. It's a lot different, except when we go off the runway and we have to change and go to a bus instead of fly back. I mean, we had one of those occurrences last year, but it was kind of the worst ball game to play of the season. So a lot easier travel for our people, our fans, and for our students, and for our team. You know, it's, when you can basically bus a lot of places, that always helps. I mean, we'll stay in our own home hotel 9 games this year. Because we'll also stay in the same hotel when we go to Baylor. So SMU will stay in the same 7 home games. I mean, the more consistency you keep with your kids, sleep in the same place, everything's the same. Helps you academically, it helps you rest-wise, it helps you everything. So hopefully it does. We'll see. We'll see when it's all started out. Every year I'm always surprised by how we play, where we play. You know, if you told me our first year in the league that we'd win 4 out of our 5 games on the road, I told you in the Big 12, I told you were crazy. You know, so, and we didn't. I'm not sure we even won one. We didn't win a home game in the Big 12 here. So, but you got some big games coming here, and so it's, you know, I think that's, you know, you're going to have a choice. I think you like it that you get a chance to play them on your home turf.
So that being said, would you advocate for Houston among these options?
Oh, now see, I just told you I wouldn't have a comment in that whole situation. Because you don't see my Twitter feed as soon as I say one, and I don't say 20 other ones. But it's, you know, it's, everybody's going to have to decide. They've had a lot of success the last couple of years in football, so it's a good university. But you know, there's probably down to 6, you know, that you could probably say that. But for me, it's, you know, when you get to where you travel too far, it just, you know, it's hard to have a rivalry. It's hard to have all of it.
How much time or game planning or special packages, how much time do you imagine spending in camp on Arkansas? It's such a unique challenge based on what you guys are sort of.
Why is it a unique challenge?
Just their uphill or downhill
We
style.
played LSU. I mean, it's.
Well, yeah, but I'm saying, you know, you're built to stop Big 12 offense. Are you gonna put anything in special?
No, we've been built to stop all of it. I mean, we played the triple option in this defense. Obviously, they're big. They have some really good players. You watch their spring game, what they've done in the SEC, especially in the second half of the season. We got a lot of work to do. Obviously, you know, I'm sure Brett's fired up about it because last time we faced was the Rose Bowl. I've heard, you know, some comments about it. So but he's a good football coach. They have a lot of Texas kids. They got a good football team, and you know when you beat Arkansas, you got to beat them. They're not gonna beat themselves. So you know, we've got to get ready for the challenge. Obviously, we prepared for it, but we haven't put any special packages in for them. You know, you've got ball games. We've got a lot of ball games to see people throw the ball around against them and how they do things. And so we've done our preparation, but. To be honest with you, I tell our kids all the time, we're the same way. You let the big games take care of themselves, and you prepare the ones you're supposed to win. So if you do that, then you have a chance to be. I was at university when I was a young coach. You know, we played somebody in the league that was supposed to be really good, and we get beat by 3. Then the next week we get blown out by somebody we should have had an opportunity to get beat, but our kids didn't get up to that ball game. So lived a long time for the games you're supposed to win. So that's what we work on. I prepare for all those other ones just as hard as I prepare for Arkansas.
Thanks, Coach.
Yep. We appreciate all of you being here, by the way. Our kids